Shivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmaracharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om. Good. Be seated, please. Parameshwaram. Om. Om Parameshwara. Good. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryan Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvisha vahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. There you are. Welcome to you all for our ongoing class on the Bhagavad Gita. Welcome also to our many students watching online. We continue today our study of chapter 11, Vishwarupa Darshana. We have to go back one slide here, and we'll begin with some recitation. Repeat after me, please. I don't know what. Something just caught my eye. Sorry for the distraction. And as always, as I'm chanting, be sure you read the translation and then repeat after me. Arjuna vacha, Arjuna vacha. And remember, we have the longer meter here. Sthane hrishikesha tava prakirtya. Sthane hrishikesha tava prakirtya. Jagat prahrishyat yanurajyate cha. Jagat prahrishyat yanurajyate cha. Rakshansi bhitani dishodravanti. Rakshansi dhitani dishodravanti. Sarve namasyanti cha siddha sanghaha. Sarve namasyanti cha siddha sangha. Kasmachatena nameran mahatman. Kasmachatena nameran mahatman. Gariyase brahmano pyari kartre. Gariyase brahmano pyari kartre. Ananta devesha jagannivasa. Ananta devesha jagannivasa. Tvamaksharam sarasattat param yata. Tvamaksharam sarasattat param yata. Tvamadideva purushah puranas. Tvamadideva purushah puranas. Tvamasya vishwasya param nidhanam. Tvamasya vishwasya param nidhanam. Vetasi vedyam cha param cha dhama. Tvaya tatam vishwamanantarupa. Tvaya tatam vishwamanantarupa. Vayuryamognir varunasya shankaha. Vayuryamognir varunasya shankaha. Prajapatisthvam prapitamahascha. Prajapatisthvam prapitamahascha. Namo namaste stu sahasrakritvaha. Namo namastestu sahasrakritvaha punascha bhuyopi namo namaste. Punascha bhuyopi namo namaste. Namah purastarata prishtataste. Namah purastarata prishtataste. Namostute sarvata heva sarva. Namostute sarvata heva. Ananta viryamita vikramastvam. Ananta viryamita vikramastvam. Sarvam samapnoshi tatosi sarvaha. Sarvam samapnoshi tatosi sarvaha. Very good. Very dramatic verses. And that's nice. We continue with that this morning. Okay. Before picking up, we'll pick up the thread. We saw verse 36 in our prior class. But before we pick up the thread, I'd like to share with you what I think is an important observation about the topic we're in the midst of. The basic topic is Bhakti. You'll recall that the middle 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita are devoted to the topic of Bhakti. But the approach of the Bhagavad Gita is quite distinct from what we'll call conventional religiosity. Let us call it that. Conventional religiosity means a great deal of emphasis on faith and devotion. This is true not just in the Hindu tradition, it's true in all the world's religious traditions. The emphasis is on faith and devotion. And the intent, of course, is that your intense faith and devotion will lead you onwards towards more spiritual maturity, perhaps, allow me to be a little sarcastic, eventually you can come to understand who it is you've been so devoted to for all these years. You see the sarcasm there, because to me it seems ironic and even out of place. You begin by praying to a God you don't really know who it is. And as we've discussed before, to pray to a supreme being who is to some degree unknown to you, beyond your comprehension, how can your devotion really be strong and sincere? So what we find in the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita is the reverse approach, ulta, you might say. And that is, instead of starting with faith and devotion and reaching an understanding of that supreme being, Sri Krishna turns it around and begins with understanding the supreme being and ends in devotion. Because, as we've said before, understanding leads to devotion. Understanding leads to love. You remember the example I gave before, and that is many of you having been married through an arrangement. When you are married in an arranged marriage, you barely know your spouse at first, but as you come to know your spouse better and better over the period of months and years, love naturally grows. And that's the model that Sri Krishna uses here, and that is we begin with knowledge, and that growth of knowledge leads to devotion, leads to bhakti. And I'd like to show you how that's so in the span of the middle 6 verses of the Bhagavad Gita. I'd like to go to the board and show you exactly how that works. Good, thank you. And let me just make sure that I'm on the board here. I'm looking at the recording. Okay. All right. So if we consider the middle 6 chapters means starting with chapter 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Is that on? Yes. Good. So let's just quickly review these chapters to see how Sri Krishna's approach in the Bhagavad Gita is to start with knowledge leading to devotion. Chapter 7, you remember, is the title is Jnana Vijnana. Jnana, knowledge of Ishvara. Vijnana, a special knowledge, a personal knowledge, a realization of Ishvara. So the middle 6 chapters focused on bhakti begins with what? Jnana. But not knowledge in general, knowledge of Ishvara, knowledge of that Supreme Being. Chapter 8 is a little bit of an aside, Akshara Brahma Yoga it's called. And you remember that chapter 8 began with Arjuna had a shopping list of questions, and then that, in a manner of speaking, sidetracked Sri Krishna into a lengthy discussion about what happens when we die. So that chapter kind of stands out from the other 6 chapters. And think of it as an aside motivated by Arjuna's question, so we'll leave it aside and then come to chapter 9. Raja Vidya. Jnana means knowledge, Vidya means knowledge. Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya. Again, focusing on knowledge of Ishvara, the king of all knowledge, the most majestic of all forms of knowledge. And in these 2 chapters, chapters 7 and 9, we saw a profound, we'll call it philosophical explanation of who and what Ishvara truly is. Remember that we used the dream metaphor extensively? And what that dream metaphor does is it puts in simple words a very profound truth. The simple words are that you are the creator of your dream world, you are the sustainer of your dream world. When you wake up, that dream world returns to you. Everything in that dream world is made of you, it's a manifestation of you, and it is non-separate from you. The dream metaphor shows all of that very clearly. In Advaita Vedanta, there's a particular definition that's used again and again in commentaries. I don't think I've shared that definition with you. I'll do so now because it is so concise and so complete. Usually things that are concise are not complete, and things that are complete are not concise. This definition of Ishvara is both concise and complete, and it consists of several Sanskrit words. I'll explain them in a moment. Abhinna, nimitta, upadana, karanam. How are we doing on room? Okay. Still has some room here at the end. Abhinna nimitta upadana karanam. I usually don't burden you with lots of Sanskrit terminology. This terminology is important, which is why I've written that up on the board, and I'll explain it to you right now. Basically, it tells you about how that dream metaphor works. Ishvara is the karanam, cause. Just as you are the cause for your dream, Ishvara is the cause for the entire cosmos. Just as you are the reality because of which everything in your dream exists, in the same way, Ishvara is the upadana karana, the material cause. It's a term used in Western philosophy, material cause, just like clay is the material cause for pot, Just like you are the material cause for everything that exists in your dream world, in the same way Ishvara is the material cause, upadana karana, for everything that exists in the universe. Not only the material cause, but nimitta karana. There are two kinds of karana, nimitta karana and upadana karana. Nimitta means intelligence, the intelligent cause. Everything that happens in your dream happens according to your memories and imagination. That's what dreams are. Memories are a result of memories and imagination. In the same way, everything that exists here in this world is a product of Ishvara's intelligence. That's what this term nimitta refers to. Ishvara's intelligence, what my guru often referred to as Ishvara's intelligent order, the cosmic order, the natural order of the universe. And then the last word, which is sometimes left out, but it's important, abhinna, non-separate. And that's quite an important term, because the dream is non-separate from you. The dream world is in you. In the same way, Ishvara is not separate. Ishvara is not a separate, distant reality, a deity living in some far-off loka. We are non-separate from that Ishvara. Therefore, we have this word abhinna, non-separate. And here's our very concise but very complete definition of Ishvara. Abhinna, nimitta, upadana, karana. You don't have to remember the Sanskrit terminology, but you can see why these words are so powerful and so precise in communicating the meaning. So, in both chapter 7 and 9, this truth was revealed with the help of the dream metaphor. Then when we started chapter 10, Vibhuti Yoga. Vibhuti here literally means the glories of God, but specifically, if you remember the chapter, Sri Krishna describes himself as, of all the mountains, I am the Himalayas. Of all waters, I am the sea. Of all rivers, I am the Ganga, etc. I am the brightness of the sun. I am the goodness of the good. So what he was describing is his manifestations. His many manifestations in the world. And what we would call ordinary manifestations, manifestations in nature, manifestations in people, goodness of the good, I'm the king among men, etc., and manifestations even among the gods. So we'll call chapter 10, we'll say that it dealt with ordinary manifestations. Manifestations that you can see the Himalayas with your eyes, you can see the sun with your eyes to recognize the Himalayas as a manifestation of Ishvara's greatness, to recognize the brightness of the sun as a manifestation of Ishvara's greatness. So here we have ordinary manifestations as compared to what we're currently studying. So in chapter 11, Vishvarupa Darshana. The darshana, the revelation of the Vishvarupa, of the cosmic form. And we're in the midst of that now. We'll return to it in just a few moments. But notice the distinction where Vibhuti Yoga, chapter 10, was ordinary manifestations. This Vishvarupa is an extraordinary manifestation. That is, you can't normally see it. Arjuna could not see it unless he was given divya drishti. So as opposed to the ordinary manifestation of Ishvara in the form of nature, in the form of people, in the form of the gods, here we have the extraordinary manifestation of Ishvara in the form of the Vishvarupa. Notice, excluding chapter 8, all of this is giving us further understanding of who and what is Ishvara. Ishvara in chapter 7 and 9, Ishvara is the abhinna nimitta upadana karana. And then in chapter 10, we get to see the ordinary manifestations of Ishvara. In chapter 11, we come to know Ishvara through his extraordinary manifestations. All of this then leads to chapter 12, Bhakti Yoga. Notice chapter 12 on bhakti, on devotion, comes last. And that's not accidental. That is the uniqueness of this approach. This is the approach of not just the Bhagavad Gita, it's the approach of the teachings of Vedanta in general, Vedanta being derived from the Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures. So notice how this is opposite of what we find in conventional religiosity, where you start with simple faith and devotion, and hopefully you advance to deeper spiritual realization. But here it's turned upside down. We begin actually with very profound spiritual teachings about the nature of Ishvara, and then we proceed in the final stage to bhakti, devotion, because knowledge leads to devotion. That's the whole principle here. And nice to see the flow of these middle 6 chapters. Okay. With that, we can return now to our text. So just to so we've set the context quite nicely with that little bit of an aside. Mostly the class will now just be this wonderful story, and I'll go through the verses fairly quickly because it is story. We'll slow down where there's important teachings, but mostly we get the story continuing. If you remember, prior, what did they say? And when you're watching one of these serials, they say they begin in the last episode. So we have to review what is in the prior episode. Remember, Sri Krishna was devouring all the warriors on the battlefield. They were being drawn into his fiery mouths and being consumed, and we describe that as a vision of the future. What Arjuna was witnessing is what was about to take place in the 18 days of battle on the battlefield. Arjuna will witness the death of all of these great warriors. So Arjuna was given the sneak preview, as it were, as we saw all of these great warriors entering Sri Krishna's many flaming mouths. Arjuna had a vision of the future. Arjuna found it frightening. And at first, Arjuna didn't understand it. So finally he says, Ko bhavan ugra rupaha. Who are you in this horrible, frightening form? And then Sri Krishna replied, Kalosmi, I am time. Loka kshaya krit pravriddhaha. I am here for the sake of destroying all of these people. And remember, we explained how it's not through his individual will or decision-making that he causes the death of all these warriors. All of his warriors are exhausting their karmas on the battlefield. When their karmas are exhausted, they perish. You can, if you didn't hear the prior class, you can go back and review that class where we discussed it at some length. So having heard that, understand, Arjuna now understands. He understands completely what he is saying. Arjuna gets it, that all of these warriors are destined to die on the battlefield according to the laws of the universe, according to the laws of karma, according to the intelligent order of Ishvara. And that's why Arjuna begins. We spent a long time talking about that one word, sthane Hrishikesha. Hrishikesha, O Lord, sthane. Everything is in its place. Sthane, in place. And the context is everything is in its place. Everything is as it should be. Arjuna understands what he is witnessing is the unfoldment of the intelligent order of the universe. Order of nature, the order of karma, the order which is Ishvara's intelligence. And Arjuna gets it. He says, sthane. Everything is in place. Everything is as it should be. Everything is as it must be. Arjuna understands. And then, now we can continue. Arjuna continues. Kasmachatena nameran mahatman. Kasmachatena nameran mahatman. Garhiyase brahmano pyari kartre. Garhiyase brahmano pyari kartre. Ananta vishvesha jagannivasa. Ananta devesha jagannivasa. Tvamaksharam sarasattatparam yata. Tvamaksharam sarasattatparam yata. Devesha, if I misspoke. Okay. Arjuna continues to acknowledge this intelligent order, acknowledge the rightness, the inevitability of whatever he's saying. He says, Kasmacha te na nameran. The prior verse said all of the great sages were bowing down to Sri Krishna. That was the last line. Sarve namasyantecha siddha sanghaha. So all of these great sages, beings are bowing down to you. And Arjuna continues, Kasmat, why? Te, they, na nameran. Why should they not bow to you? Mahatman, O great one, why should they not bow to you? After all, you are the source of the intelligence because of which the universe functions. Arjuna continues, Gariya say, you are greater than Brahmanaha, Brahmaji the creator. You are greater than the creator. Creator, sustainer, destroyer. And Arjuna says, you are beyond that. You are greater than Brahman, api adi kartre, the adi karta, the first cause, the uncaused cause. These are technical words for creator. Adi karta, the first creator, the uncaused cause. You are greater even than Brahman. And now, I said before that when Arjuna is at a loss of words, he says things like this, Ananta, Devesha, Jagannivasa, and a loose translation would be, oh God, oh God, oh God. And that's all it is. These are three terms of address. Ananta, O limitless one. Devesha, O God of the gods. Jagannivasa, the one in whom the universe dwells. But Arjuna is just stumbling for words. What can he say? O great one, Tvam Aksharam. You are immutable, eternal. You are Sat, Asat, Tat Param Yata. You are Yat, that which is Tat Param, that which is beyond. You are that which is beyond Sat and Asat. Often we translate sat as real and asat as unreal. Here that meaning doesn't sound very nice. You can't say Ishvara is beyond real. That doesn't sound quite right. So there are several other Vedantic definitions for sat and asat. Sat can mean physical. Asat can mean non-physical, sthula and sukshma. Sat can mean cause. Asat can mean effect. However you want to take it, sat and asat means everything. And Arjuna says, you are param, you are beyond sat and asat, you are beyond everything that exists. He continues. Tvamadideva purusha puranas, Tvamadideva purusha puranas, Tvamasya vishwasya param nidhanam, Tvamasya vishwasya param nidhanam, Vetasi vedyam cha param cha dhama, Vetasi vedyam cha param cha dhama, Tvaya tatam vishwamanantarupa, Tvaya tatam vishwamanantarupa. Arjuna continues, Tvam, you, O Krishna, you are the Adi Devaha. You are the first among the gods. And first, not in a time-wise manner, but in a logical manner. That is to say, that Ishvara is the one because of whom the gods exist. Just as when you create your dream world, you are not the first one to exist, and then your dream world existed second, but rather you are the reality because of which your dream world exists. Tvam Purushaha, you are the being, the cosmic being, the one who is Puranaha. Purana can mean old, here it means timeless, unborn, uncreated, unchanging. Tvam, you, O Krishna, Asya Vishwasya, for this entire cosmos, you are the Param Nidhanam, you are the ultimate abode, the supreme refuge, it's often translated. You are Vetasi, Veta Asi, Vedyam Cha Asi. You are Veta, knower, and Vedyam, known. You are knower and known. There's a little bit of a philosophical observation here. In addition to knower and known in the world, does anything else exist? Everything is either known or knower. There's no third category. So like sat, asat, those pair of words are meant to encompass all that exists in the same way here. Veta and vedyam, knower and known, are two words carefully chosen to embrace all that exists. You are the Veta, you are the knower, you are the Vedyam, that which can be known, leaving nothing out. And further, you are Param Dhamma, almost like the prior line. You are the supreme abode, you are the ultimate refuge. Tvaya, by you, Vishwam, the entire world is tatam, pervaded. And that word tatam means pervaded in a particular way. Just as this cloth is pervaded by threads. That word tata has a sense of being woven. So we could say that this cloth is woven of threads in the same way the universe is woven of Ishvara. Ishvara is the underlying reality because of which the universe exists. Ananta Rupa, Arjuna addresses Sri Krishna one more time. You of limitless form, Ananta Rupa. Arjuna continues. Vayur-yamognir varunasya shankaha Vayur-yamognir varunasya shankaha Prajapatis-tvam prapitamahascha Prajapatis-tvam prapitamahascha Namo namaste stu sahasrakritvaha Namo namaste stu sahasrakritvaha Punascha bhuyopi namo namaste Punas bhuyopi namo namaste. So Arjuna he doesn't stop. He just goes on and on and on. And he says, you are Vayuhu. You are manifest as the winds, or the god of winds. You are Yamaha, death, or the god of death. You are Agnihi, fire, the fire manifest in the world. You are Varunaha, both waters and the god of the waters. You are Shashankaha, you are the moon, and the sun, and the stars, and everything else. You get the idea? You are Prajapatihi, you are the progenitor of all beings, all human beings. You are Prapitamahacha. Nice expression. You are the grandfather of us all. You are the progenitor, you are the grandfather of us all. And Arjuna continues, Namo namaste, namaha te, namaha, salutations, te, unto you. Namaha, namaste, salutation, astu, may there be. Salutations unto you. Sahasra kritvaha, thousands of times. Arjuna can't just say namaste, namaste, namaste. So he says, sahasra kritvaha, thousands of times. Punaha cha bhuyaha api, and again, namaha, namaste. Again and again and again, salutations to you. Arjuna is at a loss for words. What can he say? Salutations to you again and again and again. Nama purastarata prishtataste, Nama purastarata prishtataste, Namostute sarvata heva sarva, Namostute sarvata heva sarva, Ananta viryamita vikramastvam, Ananta viryamita vikramastvam, Sarvam samapnoshi tatosi sarvaha, Sarvam samapnoshi tatosi sarvaha. Arjuna is still stuck on his salutations. Namaha, salutations, purastat. Salutations to you in front of me. Prishtataha te, and also salutations to you behind me. Also, Namaha astu te, salutations to you sarvataha, everywhere eva. Salutation, remember I said, wherever, it's not that, we've made several comments about the typical depiction of this cosmic form standing up and Arjuna bowing down before it. And as wonderful as those depictions are, it comes far short of what Arjuna's experience was, because wherever Arjuna looked, he saw the Vishvarupa. If he looked in front, he saw Vishvarupa. He looked behind, Vishvarupa. He looked up, Vishvarupa. He looked down, Vishvarupa. Left, right, wherever he looked, he saw Vishvarupa. And he says, salutations unto you everywhere. And he addresses Sri Krishna as Sarva. Now it sounds a little odd to address Sri Krishna as all. Oh, all. In English, it doesn't work at all. So we have to understand this a little bit better. Remember, we've given that example. Let's go back to that dream metaphor. we've said in the dream metaphor, you are not only the creator, sustainer, destroyer of the dream world, you project everything in the dream world, you also project yourself into your dream world. Let's take that metaphor and apply it now to this Vishvarupa Darshana. So imagine this is your dream. We've given the example before of a lucid dream, a dream in which you know you're dreaming. Imagine this is your lucid dream, and notice that you are one of the characters in your own lucid dream. You're sitting in your chair. And suppose sitting in your chair, you decide you're going to give all of us the Vishvarupa. In fact, suppose, let it be me. Suppose I say, hey, I recognize you, because I'm the Swami, right? I say, I recognize you. You are the dreamer, are you not? Are you following? This is a little different metaphor. This is your dream. You have projected yourself into your dream. You're sitting in your chair, and being a Swami, I happen to recognize you as a manifestation of the dreamer. So I point to you and say, hey, isn't this your dream? You say, yeah. You created all this? Say, yeah, I created all this. Then, just like Arjuna, I say, I see you sitting in the chair. I would love to see your cosmic form. Suppose you stand up. And you say, of course you have to tell me, oh Swami, you need some eyeglasses, and you can't see me with your ordinary vision. So divyam dadami, you will tell me in Sanskrit. You'll tell me, nice, you know Sanskrit. So you'll tell me, I bestow you with this divine sight, so that you can see the revelation of my cosmic form. You stand up and you reveal your vastness. If I'm the only one in this room with Divya Drishti, no one else can see. Only I can see. Having been blessed by you, the dreamer, with Divya Drishti, you stand up, you reveal your cosmic form, and I, like Arjuna was overwhelmed, I become overwhelmed by your cosmic form. And how will I address you? I know that you are the reality because of which the whole dream world exists, so therefore I can address you as all. You are all. And here sarva comes as a term of address. O all. I don't know how to put that in better English. Even in Sanskrit, it sounds a little bit odd to address Ishvara, to address here Sri Krishna in his Vishvarupa. Arjuna addresses him as all, that cosmic form. Okay, set the dream metaphor aside. We come back here. Where did I leave off? There we are. Third line. Ananta virya amita vikramaha tvam. Nice Sanskrit. Tvam. You are ananta virya. You are the one who has limitless power. You are the one who has amita vikrama. Vikrama can also mean power, but here amita means unmeasurable, immeasurable. Limitless and immeasurable, meaning whatever we see, whatever we try to quantify or define, it is beyond all measurement, beyond all description. So Arjuna says, your power is beyond limit, it's beyond description, it is beyond measure. Sarvam samapnoshi. Samapnoshi. You pervade sarvam, the universe. You pervade the universe. Tataha, therefore, asi, you are sarvaha. There's the word again. Therefore, you are all. So again, imagine this is your lucid dream. I am like Arjuna, and I recognize you sitting in your chair as a manifestation of the dreamer. And I can say, I know you are the dreamer. You are manifest as this entire dream creation. You are the reality because of which this entire dream creation exists. Now, next couple of verses go in a little different direction. See what happens here. Saketi matva prasabham yaruktam. Saketi matva prasabham yaruktam. He Krishna, he Yadava, he Saketi. He Krishna, he Yadava, he Saketi. Ajanata mahimanam tavedam. Ajanata mahimanam tavedam. Maya pramarat pranayena vapi. Maya pramarat pranayena vapi. Arjuna gets now embarrassed. And embarrassed why? Arjuna has treated Sri Krishna as his friend, his buddy. And what do they say now? Young people say, bro, hey bro. And that's what Arjuna realizes now is sakha iti matva, considering you to be my friend, prasabham yaruktam. Yaruktam, I said prasabham very casually. I said casually what? Hey Krishna, hey bro, hey Yadava, family name. Hey Sakha iti, oh friend, bro. That's pretty casual. So if I recognize, think about this. I met you last, we'll go back to that, my silly dream metaphor. Last week, I saw you, and I said, hey, how you doing? But today, I recognize you as being a projection of the dreamer. Last week, I treated you casually, but today, I get it. You are a manifestation of the dreamer. You are the creator, sustainer, destroyer of the universe. And my gosh, would I be embarrassed for treating you casually last week. And that's what Arjuna says here. He says, pick up that word maya in the last line. By me, ajanata in the third line. Not by me, not recognizing. Tava idam mahimanam. Idam, this mahimanam, this greatness, tava, of yours, not recognizing your true nature, not recognizing your greatness, literally, not recognizing you as a manifestation of Ishvara, as creator, sustainer, destroyer, all of that. I am so embarrassed, Arjuna says, I said that, I spoke to you casually, pramarat, due to carelessness. Pranayenava, or due to affection. So either I was careless, or I was just feeling kind of very friendly and warm and loving to you. But I'll paraphrase Arjuna, not paraphrase, I'll explain. Arjuna is so embarrassed for having treated Krishna so casually and now recognizing the Lord's true greatness. Arjuna continues. Yachavaha sartama satkritosi, yachava sartama kritosti vihara shayyasana bhojaneshu vihara shayyasana bhojaneshu ekotavapyachuta tatsamaksham ekotavapyachuta tatsamaksham tatshamaye twamahamapromeyam tatshamaye twamahamapromeyam. Arjuna continues to describe his embarrassment. He says, yat cha, and that which was said, avahasartam. Avahasa, out of in play, kind of playfully. Avahasartam, playfully. Playfully, asatkritaha asi. You were asatkritaha. You were disrespected. You were treated so casually by me, out of playfully, Arjuna admits, playfully, I disrespected you. I disrespected you when? Vihara, when we were playing, hanging out, as we would say in American English. Shaya, when we were laying down. Asana, when we were sitting. And bhojaneshu, and when we were eating. In all of these situations, I treated you so casually, and I playfully disrespected you. Ekaha, when I was one, alone with you, atava api, and also, achyuta, O Arjuna, and also, tat samaksham, when we were in a gathering. You know, Arjuna's embarrassment here. If you treat someone casually and it's just the two of you, it doesn't have so much weight. But if you do that in public, suppose, just to make something up, suppose President Biden happens to be here. And you say, hey, Joe, how are you doing? To treat someone like that so disrespectfully in public is the point. To be disrespectful in public is much more significant than being disrespectful in private. And Arjuna admits that he's done both. He was disrespectful to Krishna in private, and tat kshamaksham, and he was disrespectful to Sri Krishna in the presence of others. Tat kshamaye, and Arjuna says, I seek forgiveness for that. Please, Twam, I seek your forgiveness. Aham, I, kshamaye Twam. I seek your forgiveness. You who are aprameyam, you are the limitless one, the immeasurable one. I seek your forgiveness for treating you disrespectfully, both alone and in public. Pitasi lokasya characharasya, pitasi lokasya characharasya, tvamasya pudyascha gurur gariyan, tvamasya pudyascha gurur gariyan, natvat samostyabhyadhika kutonyo, natvat samostyabhyadhika kutonyo, lokatraye pratima, lokatraye pratima prabhava, lokatraye pratima prabhava. And I pause because the word is not pratima, but apratima. Anyway, that's the problem. When you're reciting, if you're just reciting syllables, it's easy. But when you're reciting words, it actually makes it a little bit trickier. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So Arjuna continues, pitasi, You are the Pitta, the father. The father of whom? Lokasya, of the entire world. Chara acharasya, and everything that moves and everything that doesn't move, all that's living and all that's inanimate, you are the father of all, the source of all. Earlier, Arjuna used the term bijam. You are the seed. Tvam, you are us. And that asya goes to the first line. Tvam, you are pujaha. You are worshipful. You are revered, would be a good translation. You are revered, you are worshipful. You are guruhu gariyan. There's a play on words here. Guru, you know, as teacher, but guru as an adjective means heavy, profound, weighty, which is why he says gariyan. And just to be a little playful here, you are the heaviest of the heavy. You are the most profound of the profound. Or loosely, you are the greatest of all teachers. That's what the expression means. Natvat samaha asti. Na asti. There is no one who is tvat samaha. No one who is equivalent to you. No one who is your equal. Abhyadikaha kutaha anyaha. If there's no one your equal, then kutaha, how could there be anyaha, anyone who is abhyadikaha, greater? If no one is even your equal, it is absolutely impossible that anyone is greater than you. Lokatraye, in all the three worlds. Api, pratima prabhava. You have to get that because pratima prabhava, power. Your power is apratima, formless. You, and this is a term of address, very philosophical. Arjuna uses these words. Apratima prabhava, O Lord, whose power is formless or maybe measureless. Apratima, no, formless. Your power is formless. Power pervades the world. That formless power molds the world, as it were. Then, tasmat pranamya pranidhaya kayam. Tasmat pranamya pranidhaya kayam. Prasadaye tvamahamishamidhyam. Prasadaye tvamahamishamidhyam. Piteva putrasya sakheva sakyuhu. Piteva putrasya sakheva sakyuhu. Priyayarhasi deva sodhum. Priyayarhasi deva sodhum. Tasmat, Arjuna concludes, pranamya, having bowed to you, pranidhaya kayam, and having prostrated kayam, body, having prostrated my body. So Arjuna here is not just folding his hands, but and especially in South India, you see that sashtanga namaskara, laying out on the ground, so all your limbs in contact with the ground. That's what Arjuna has done. He has prostrated himself to Sri Krishna, and he says, Prasadaye tvam. I beseech you, have mercy, be pleased with me, give me a break. In some colloquial terms. So you see, he says, I beseech you, aham, I, aham prasadaye tvam, I beseech you, isham, I beseech you, the Lord, idyam, the revered Lord, the venerable Lord of the cosmos. And then he concludes, remember he was talking about his embarrassment before, so he's back to that embarrassment. End of the verse. Deva, O God, Sodhum Arhasi. Sodhum Arhasi is an idiom meaning you should forgive me, you should put up with me, you should tolerate is a better translation. You should tolerate me. Arhasi Sodham. You should tolerate me, which means tolerate my disrespect. Arjuna is referring to his disrespectful behavior before, both alone and in public. So Arjuna concludes here, you should forgive me, you should tolerate my disrespectful behavior. How? Third line now. Pitta iva putrasya. Like a father tolerates the behavior of a son. Now, son here means the metaphor is if father is holding on to his 2-year-old son, and the son kind of smacks him in the face, or I don't know, I've not raised children. Some of you have had this experience. You're holding on to your infant, and they pee on you. I'm sure that happened. That must happen a lot. I have no idea. I've not raised a child, but I can imagine. You're taking care of the child, and they pee on you. What kind of disrespect is that? But you naturally forgive them, as a father forgives a son, as a mother forgives a daughter. So please, Arjuna says, please forgive me my disrespectful behavior, like a father forgives his son. Sakha iva sakyuhu, like a friend forgives a friend. And priyaha priyarya, like a lover forgives the beloved. Like a father forgives the son, like a friend forgives a friend, like a lover forgives the beloved. Please forgive me, Arjuna begs. And he continues. Adrishta purvam hrishitosmi drishtva. Adrishta purvam hrishitosmi drishtva. Bhayena cha pravyatitam mano me. Ena cha pravyatitam mano me. Tadeva me darshaya deva rupam. Tadeva me darshaya deva rupam. Prasida devesha jagannivasa. Prasida devesha jagannivasa. So Arjuna says, Drishtva, having seen, adrishta purvam, having seen that which has never been seen before, Arjuna says, Hrishitaha asmi. I am Hrishita. I am excited. I am overwhelmed with excitement. And he's not only is he overwhelmed with excitement, but end of the second line, manaha me, my mind, pravyatitam, trembles, bhayena, with fear. So we said before, the line has been crossed from awesome to awful. So it's no longer awesome. It's now become very frightening. Arjuna admits, my mind trembles with fear, and Arjuna begs, Tave me deva, O God, me darshaya, show me, reveal unto me, tadeva rupam, that form. What form? That form, not this form. This form is not just awesome, this form is awful. Please reveal to me tat rupam, that form, that prior form. of yours. When you were my charioteer, please reveal to me your prior form. Prasida Devesha. Devesha, O God of the gods, Prasida, have mercy. Jagannivasa, the one in whom the world abides. Have mercy on me. And we'll see. And Arjuna concludes with this one more verse. That'll be a nice place for us to conclude our class. So Arjuna says, please return to your prior form. Notice how Arjuna describes that prior form. Kiritinam gadinam chakrahastam. Kiritinam gadinam chakrahastam. Ichchami tvam drashtumaham tathaiva. Ichchami tvam drashtumaham tathaiva. Tenaiva rupena chaturbhujena. Tenaiva rupena chaturbhujena. Sahasrabaho bhava vishwamurte. Sahasrabaho bhava vishwamurte. Start in the second line. Drashtum ichchami. Aham, I. Drashtum ichchami. I want to see tvam, you. I want to see you, tata eva, in that manner. In the manner you were before, when you were my charioteer. Look at how Arjuna describes. I want to see you in your prior form, in the form you were before. What is that form? Kiritinam, wearing a crown. Krishna is charioteer. Charioteers usually don't wear crowns. Watch where this goes. Gadinam, you were holding a mace. Chakrahastam, and holding a chakra, discus. Arjuna is not describing Sri Krishna. Arjuna is describing Vishnu. Vishnu, who is looked down in the third line, Chaturbhujena, having 4 arms. Look, and here's the irony. Arjuna knows Sri Krishna is Ishvara. But Arjuna has Sri Krishna identified with Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu having 4 arms. Lord Vishnu holding this gada, this club. Lord Vishnu holding this chakra, this discus. But Arjuna says, I want to see you. Okay, we have to see the rest of the verse here. Pick up the word bhava at the very end of the verse. Bhava. Bhava, please be tena eva rupena, in that form. In what form? Chaturbhujena, in that form having only 4 arms. Only 4 arms, because Arjuna addresses Sri Krishna as Sahasrabaho. You have thousands of arms. Thousands of arms I can't handle. 4 arms I can handle, Arjuna says. So Sahasrabaho, O 1,000-armed Lord, Vishwamurte, O Lord, whose form is cosmic, Vishwa. O Lord, whose form is the universe. I can't handle thousands of arms, but I can handle 4 arms. Please return to your prior form, not literally as 4-armed Lord Vishnu, but really as Arjuna's charioteer, whom Arjuna knew to be an incarnation of Vishnu. So please return to your prior form. Arjuna has been overwhelmed, and Arjuna concludes. At this point, Sri Krishna responds, and we'll see that response in the next class. And I think we'll finish the chapter in the next class. Not so much is left. A couple of quick announcements here. Tomorrow, Sunday, we have our satsanga, question answer period. We'll meet outside in the garden if the weather is nice. If otherwise, we'll meet inside. So come and join us at 6 o'clock. I'll also remind you that we're posting our Bhagavad Gita videos. These videos of this dramatic reenactment of the video. We just posted chapter 6 last week. Chapter 7 will be posted this coming Wednesday. So please go to our website or my YouTube channel, and you'll definitely enjoy those videos. Okay, we'll conclude with our brief prayers. Om Gananahan Tva Ganapatigam Avamahe Kaving Gavinam Upamashravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspatahana Shrinvan Uttabasira Saranam Om Mahaganapataye Namaha Ishvaro Gururhatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramhanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschad Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat.